Welcome, my name is Gary Gibbs. I'm talking about fashion today, and boy, I think Bob Dylan was absolutely right. You know, the times are changing, and everything evolves and moves on, and there's always a new trajectory in music, in art, in all sorts of things. Um, and clothes, especially, are a reflection of the times today. I mean, when I was a kid, a long time ago, I remember, and it was very much the disco epoch, disco era. And I went to a nightclub for the first time, and I can never forget. It's almost transparent what I wore. I must have looked absolutely incongruous. But when you're young, you're sort of insouciant and foolhardy and gallant. And I was going to a disco, my first ever disco, and I remember my attire. I had a Hawaiian t-shirt, very big afro hair, baggy trousers, plastic slippers. I was 16 years of age. I was waiting for my schoolmate, who lived in Ladbroke Grove, to come down to Hammersmith to get the 27 to Richmond. I must have looked silly, but I didn't really care. Um, well, that was the fashion thing in the day. And I was on a bus not too long ago, and I was almost alarmed. I'm not easily shocked. I don't want to sound some sort of curmudgeoned old man because I believe in live and let live. But I saw this guy, and he came on the top of the bus. He must have been 16, 17 years of age. And he did look ridiculous. He really did. He had a t-shirt on, a very pink t-shirt. Yeah. And of course, you know what the fashion statement now is, to have your trousers dangling down near to your knees, your buckle undone, and you're showing your sort of derriere. Do you know what I mean? It's a sort of gangster statement. But he just looked absolutely silly and absolutely ridiculous. You know, and I nearly started to laugh. But that's the fashion of today. Everything evolves and morphs into something else. You know, when I was a kid, a long time ago, radio was the protagonist of entertainment. And of course, television comes along. We had black and white television. And then there was colour TV. And then we had vinyl and record players and turntables. That's completely morphed now, today. Today's technology, everything is done by a touch of a button. You know, our access to information, our social gathering, our interaction is there on celluloid. I saw a young baby who was about 3 or 4 with those really big smartphones. You know, I mean, is that a window to education? It's really kind of strange. But that's the way the world is nowadays. You know, when I was a kid, there were so many places to go. You had town halls, you had social clubs, you had youth clubs, you had discos, you had boys' brigade, all sorts of places. I mean, when I was a kid, I was going to clubs 4 times a week and still at school. You know, everything you went and you looked for, you scoured for. There was a kind of serendipity in everything you did. I mean, when I was a kid, you know, going out, this is probably post-punk. I used to go to Millets in Tottenham Court Road and jump on the 27th bus and buy myself an army jacket, but for £3, and wear that at a disco. But you were invented. And then there was the reggae time as well, where a lot of people became more urbane. There was no longer the plastic slippers and the flares and the Hawaiian t-shirts. We dressed in Italian garb. We had kabuchis and faras and loafer shoes. That was magnificent. I remember going to a place called West Ealing Social Club a long time ago. And in that time, there was a renaissance of so much music. There was Quadrophenia came out, so the mob things still there, punk, two-tone, soul, disco, all sorts of things. So when I went to this place on a Friday night, I was a soul boy at the time. But there was an amalgamation of just about every single genre and style there. There were mods, there were skinheads, there were punks, there were rockers, there were rusters.